putting this location, this event, and putting a lot of things together behind the scenes. And it is we're very grateful for the work you volunteers have done, and all you other folks that have stepped up to help put some things together. And we're going to tell you about that here in just a few minutes. First of all, I want to start recognizing some folks, and in no particular order, so don't get upset if I'm not doing this chronologically or Robert's rules, etc., etc. So I want to, first of all, welcome former State Representative Tom Burcham. And son, future State Representative John Burcham. Here, ladies and gentlemen. You bet. State Representative Elaine Gannon walked in, and she is here, and we appreciate her work so much. Bismarck girl, by the way. You bet. By the way, we share birthdays, don't we?
That's right, we
yes.
do.
Happy Groundhog's Day.
Yes.
I'm older than
Not
her.
much.
But that's okay. We're groundhog babies. Do you want to say anything, Elaine? Would you like to mention something?
This is my first time to be here in your new building. It's absolutely beautiful. I know it's going to be used a lot. People coming to get their literature, and I just congratulate St. Francis County and go Republicans.
Our guest of honor is here this afternoon, Joshua. Do we want to bring him now, or do we? Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever heard the name Jason Smith? It's a common name. I mean, come on. Give it up for our Congressman, Jason Smith.
Oh, always on the spot with Louis. I mean, you got to watch the interviews, all of it. It's an honor to be here. Sorry for my delay, but a World War II veteran really got me choked up across the street. We just gave medals, 8 medals, including his Bronze Star, to a World War II veteran who had his medals stolen years ago, and we were able to have the ceremony and give it to him. You know, when someone's in their 90s and they served our country in World War II, there's not many of them left. It's truly an honor and blessing. But glad to be over here. St. Francis County, whenever I was first elected 5 years ago in a special election, they're like, St. Francis County is a tough county to win. It's a tough county to win. I was like, we will win St. Francis County. And we did. And you know what? This county has been constantly turning. It started with few Republicans many years ago, but I think this is a year. We have some very, very good, strong candidates for these county offices, and we need to fill them up. Because we win state and nationally. We need to start winning locally. And we have won several locally, but we got to stick together. This is an incredible location. Who's in charge of finding this location?
Dale Wright.
You know, in a midterm election in the party of power, which is a Republican Party, it's usually very difficult. It is. And if you watch TV, they'll talk about a blue wave or a red wave. I mean, you hear all these waves. I think it's a tornado, more. I literally think it's a tornado, and I think there's pockets of areas where the elections are a little bit more difficult. But I can tell you here in St. Francis County, there's not going to be a tornado. And if it is a tornado, it's going to be a tornadoes for the GOP. I sat down and had dinner with the president on Thursday, and I was talking to him about the day that he had on Thursday and the day that was going on in the United States Senate. And I can tell you, we are clearly at a time that the other side will do a lot of things to trip you up. They will do a lot of things. So always expect the unexpected, because it does happen. But in order for us to have victory, in order for us to be successful, it means that we have to work really hard. And we got to let people know the values that we represent and what we believe in and what we care about. And if we do that, we just got to make sure we have more people show up. We know elections can be close. My very first election as a state representative, when I got to serve with Mr. Engler, in fact, it may be Kevin who took me across the finish line, so it could be his fault. Because he
I used
actually...
a wheelbarrow, what do you want?
You know, there's not too many senators that will door knock in Bunker, Missouri, but Kevin Engler did that for me when I was running for state rep. And that's pretty special. But that election, I was running in a special election back in 2005. And on election day, we just kept working to the very last. And in Crawford County, which is just a neighbor over here, I won that county by 1 vote. 1 vote. So when people say every vote counts, I know every vote counts. And so don't take anything for granted. If your friends and neighbors and your relatives are voting for us, make sure they vote. If they're not, tell them it's November 7th. So, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe. But what you all are doing here in San Francisco County is remarkable. We have about 3 counties in my congressional district that I want to turn completely red. And this is one of the 3. And I think this is our opportunity. And so, count me in. I'm behind you all, and I'm happy to support the Central Committee, and I'm glad to be here for this ribbon cutting, and I'm glad to see a huge crowd who has the same passion, that knows that we're going to make a difference. And there we go. Let's get it. All right. Who's next?
You got Louis. Who wants to be next?
All right.
Who wants to
Follow Jason Smith, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I like the way he dropped that. I had dinner with the president last night. I had dinner with my 3-legged dog, Lucky, last night. You know, not quite the same thing. Mike Henderson has served us proudly in Jefferson City, and we're going to send him back, and we're going to let Mike say hello to this lovely audience.
Thank you, Larry. I'm Mike Henderson. I serve in the 117th District. Just finished my first term as state representative. First thing I need to do is I want to introduce my wife, Sherry Henderson. She may be the main reason I was there this last 2 years, because she is a fantastic campaign person. She is fabulous and gets along with everybody. But just finished my first, move out of it, it's right here. First 2 years up there. Love it. It's been a great experience. You don't like every day, but it is a great experience up there. What I want to do, one thing I want to talk to you about is something that's very important in this next election, called Clean Missouri. Any of you familiar with Clean Missouri? I put it this way, it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Sounds good. We're going to clean up ethics in Missouri, right? Everybody says that's what we're going to do. And if you look at the first 5-6 pages of it, it's great. It's things that we probably all would agree on. We all would agree on those things. And in fact, in the House, within the first week of the first 2 years I was there, we approved all those things. And they just didn't get through the Senate on that side there for different reasons. But we approved them the first week of the first 2 years I was up there. But if you look further back, what it's really about is gerrymandering. And right now, the Republicans are the party in control of Missouri. And they're trying, and since they can't win elections, they're going to try to fix it to give themselves a chance to win some elections. So what it really does is it sets up and says that you have to have the same makeup of Republicans and Democrats that are in the state in each district. Plus, you have the same racial makeup, men, women, and ethnic makeup. African Americans, Latinos, and such. What it's going to create is what they call string districts that are going to come out of St. Louis and Kansas City. It could make a place like St. Francis County as an example, where you could have 2, 3, 4 representatives, and none of them would be from around here. They may be from St. Louis because of these long districts. Your senator could come from somewhere else, 3, 4 counties away that's not even close. Most of them are going to come from the city. The person behind it is a gentleman by the name of George Soros. Now, you won't see his name exactly, but if you track the PACs that are funding it, it goes back to George Soros. How many of you know George Soros?
Oh, good. And I'm sure none of you like him, I'm sure. But he's your left-wing person, billionaire, who is funding that. And that's probably enough for most of you to know it's not a good thing. The next thing it does is it sits there and says that the districts will be done by the state auditor. Now, who controls our elections? Secretary of State, right? But Secretary of State is what party? Republican. And so who's the only Democrat state office holder we have? The auditor. So that's why they're trying to put the auditor in charge of doing this. And so I'm just telling you, you need to get that word out to your friends and your family and let them know clean Missouri is a really, really bad thing. All it is gerrymandering on steroids. They're trying to hijack the election since they can't win them in a fair election. So I'll take any questions if you had a question about it. Yes, sir.
Mike, it's one of those confusing things. If we're against it, we're voting no. Is that right?
That is correct.
So vote no.
Vote no.
All right, thank you.
Because basically, if you read the first 5 or 6 pages, you'll be going, this sounds pretty good. But you have to read it all, and it's not a good thing. Any other questions? Again, I just want to thank you for allowing me to represent you for the last 2 years. And thank you for coming today. And I'll let Louis see who's next.
State Representative Mike Henderson. All right, State Representative Roll, and you cannot go wrong if you vote for right for State Representative. Ladies and gentlemen, Dale Wright.
I think you can hear me from here. First of all, thanks everybody for being here. I can tell you, I've worked behind the scenes in a lot of campaigns over the years, and I haven't seen this much activity or enthusiasm since Ronald Reagan, 1980. And we used to fill up the Elizabeth Hall, and where the old Lappies was at, those were full those days. This is tremendous, and I just want to thank all of you for being here and supporting us. You know, my campaign's going pretty well. So far, I've only been thrown off of one property, and my wife was thrown off with me. So we're doing pretty good. Our record's going real well. We need to make sure that we all get out and vote. In my situation, I have virtually all of St. Genevieve County, which is extremely labor-oriented and big-time Democrat. I'm a big supporter of labor, and I want you to know that. But the Democrats are really coming after us. And so I have that. I have Perry County, portion of Perry County, and St. Francis County. In the primary, I got shellacked pretty good in St. Genevieve County, but I did better here, and I did better in Perry County than my future opponent. We just ask all of you, if, as Congressman Smith said, if you don't think it's important, just look at how his vote went. I would tell you, if we sit on our duffs here, we will lose this seat. So we've got to do well in St. Francis County. We've got to do well in Perry County, and we're going to have some nice inroads down in St. Genevieve County. Finally, if I can, everywhere I go, I'm talking about Josh Hawley and Claire McCaskill. Every stop that I go, we need to make sure that we all support Josh Hawley. We've got to get Claire McCaskill out of there. Declare. So I just implore all the candidates, but all of you, as you're out talking to people, it's time for a change in the Senate, and let's all, in every single stop we have, let's work on trying to get Josh Hawley elected. Thank you all very much for being here.
Congressman Smith, we were going to take a break, but you want us to keep on going, is that correct?
Whatever you all want to do.
Keep it moving? All right. Hey, we're on a roll now. Okay. If you don't want the answer, don't ask Kevin Engler the question. Am I right? Ladies and gentlemen, State Representative Kevin Engler.
Thank you. And you were staring at the root of all evil for the Democratic Party. Everybody blames everything on Kevin Engler. Couple things to address your point. If people say, you know, Claire really is moderate. You know, she's the 50th senator. She's really moderate. We need to keep her. What will her first vote be if the Democrats will take over? For what?
Schumer.
For Chuck Schumer. You're right. Leadership. What does Chuck Schumer do? Who's going to be the head of judiciary? Dianne Feinstein. Did you see her performance this past week? Were you embarrassed by it? She didn't know the difference between a point of personal privilege and an amendment. 20-something years in there, that's embarrassing. Now, nobody else cared when I was there. That's embarrassing when you have to ask what your amendment does, when it wasn't even an amendment. And she's going to be in charge, all up and down the line. This is essential. It's critical. When I started running for the Senate about 15, 16 years ago, my first race, we still had, everybody remember straight ticket voting? 38% of the 7 counties voted straight Democrat. We had a generic ballot where people, if you just ask, are you going to vote for Republicans or Democrats? Between 15 and 20% genetic ballot difference. There was that many more people that, all else being equal, 20% more, that's a landslide, will vote Democrat. Congressman, we just did polling. What's the ballot, the over and under now?
Well, let's not say that, but we need to work hard.
Yeah,
But we're good.
It has switched almost 25% in the last year. People are finally realizing this is not their parents' Democratic Party. Now, I'm going to talk briefly about, we talked about this years ago. I was born and raised a Democrat, now I'm embarrassed by it. People in St. Genevieve County, they're pro-life. What was the #1 reason this guy, they're not going to vote for this Supreme Court nominee? He's too pro-life and too Catholic. What if we said that about a Jewish person or a Muslim? Well, we can say that. Now, St. Genevieve County is 90% Catholic. It's time they realize they are no longer just ultra-liberal, the way the National Party. They're not socialist in St. Genevieve County or this county. So, I'm going to talk briefly about my race. Everybody says, well, you shouldn't have any problem. You're running against somebody that's never had a job. And the county clerk, you know, does all the human resources for the county, manages 180 people. Now, one of the old county clerks that was a representative, I asked him what's the good points, and he told me something I didn't realize. The hardest part of the job is telling an 85-year-old lady that's been an election judge for 40 years, well, he said counseling them out of the job. In other words, we cannot have you there anymore. It's going to be very difficult if you've never hired and fired somebody. Tom, you remember the time I had to fire somebody with a loaded weapon and destroy their career and their life and ask for their weapon and their badge. That makes you pucker up when you're doing that. You've got to be able to manage people. I've set tax rates. You have to set the tax rate. You have to do things like work comp. You have to have the most essential part of the function of government, conducting the elections. Now, I'm happy if people will look at my resume and my opponent's resume and make a decision on who they want to support. I would hope that you would go out, because now I'm hearing things on the internet, well, you know, Engler had a terrible time when he was a mayor. I don't think so. You know, financially, we had Tom was on the council, we had 6 years without any findings on our audits, outside audits. And it's amazing what people, somebody said, well, he's running for another office so that he can financially benefit himself, get another pension. If I wanted a bigger pension, I would have taken one of the appointments offered to me by 2 of the last governors. And then your pension would have been based on $100,000 a year, not 35. If I wanted financial, I would have stayed with the company that I was making excellent money for. I was fortunate that Edward Jones let me do this job and let me donate my take-home pay to charities in our area. If I was doing it for financial reasons, I would have never done that. So when you see that, make sure you tell people that type of stuff's not true. We had great growth and development. We've got a lot of things done in the 16 years we were there. I know that everybody says they hate career politicians. If you want politicians to go and do what you want, I never missed a day. We didn't do it for financial reasons. I never took anything from corporations or lobbyists. We didn't go trips. We didn't do that. A lot of people did. But look at my ethics reports. They're clean. So my point is, if you're going to try to elect people and you want certain people to represent you, what do you want? You want people that have expertise in management. You want people that have done these functions before. And you want people that are doing it for the right reasons. I hope that you will all help me, because this is a team sport. It's a contact sport, but it's also a team sport. We need you all. This county's small enough that if everybody talks to the people at their church, their neighbors, their friends, we will have a clean sweep, because things are changing. That first time I was elected senator, we had no representatives that were Republicans in this area. Now Mike McGurl's going to pick up that last seat. We will have them all. So we just need to go to the courthouses and start making a bigger representation in our courthouses. With your help, we'll do that. So we thank you. Louis, thank you. Appreciate it.
Some of you may not know this, but I'm also the St. Francis County Auditor, and I'm unopposed, by the way. Apparently somebody picked up that Ouija board and said, we don't want to mess with that office. We're out, state auditors coming in. We don't want to run there, man. We out. But anyway, the reason I mention that is because in the last 18 months, and I was appointed by former Governor Greitens, in the last 18 months, I've had the pleasure of working with a variety of terrific people in the courthouse. Trust me, when we walk through that door of the courthouse annex or the courthouse judicial building, we don't put our Republican or Democrat sign on our chest. We take that off because we're working for the taxpayer. Because of that, I just want to mention that one of the most important jobs in that courthouse and the annex is that of county clerk. Elections, payroll. I mentioned payroll because that's where my check comes from, Kevin. I just want to remind you, but health insurance, he's the HR, that person is the HR person for 188 people. Everybody thinks, well, you just do elections every 2 years or something. That's not true. It's very critical. And then to get the money and to pay for the elections is one other point. That county clerk's job is very, very important, and we've got a perfect candidate for that. I think we've run through all of the state representatives here with the exception of former state representative Linda Black-Tamura. She's responsible for our Senate section. Thank you. All right, we're gonna pound the gavel for a while. We're gonna start with the judge. I think we could have got clever with this guy's last name. I think we probably could have done some wonderful billboards with the last name Poor. But we decided just to bring him up and let him tell us that he is not a poor candidate for judge. Ladies and gentlemen, Gerald Poor.
Louis, invite everybody. We're backing up there. We got plenty of room over here, guys. Come on in. Come on in. Come over.
In fact, it's cooler back here if you want to come back here.
Out the door.
Yeah. Come on in.
All right. Okay, so good afternoon, and thank you for coming. As been said, my name is Gerald Poor II, and I'm running for 24th Circuit Court Judge against Sandy Martinez. This seat covers the counties of St. Francis, St. Genevieve, Washington, and Madison. This November, I am asking you to vote for judge. So the state of my race looks very strong. If the election were held in August, I would have won by 6% of the vote, and I would have carried 3 out of the 4 counties. In the last county, I'm seeing some very positive movement, and I think I have not only eliminated the margins, but I think I'm on the path to victory there too. With less than 40 days to go, now is not the time to get complacent, but I think we're in position for a 4-county sweep. The key to winning here in St. Francis County is getting out to vote. Let your friends know who I am, and tell them to vote Republican. The more Republicans that we can get out to vote, the better off we'll be. Not just in my race, but in all the major races too, like the Senate race. I have been asked what made me decide to run in 2018. I have a comfortable job, a nice house, a cool car. So what would drive myself to put me through all of this and run for this particular seat? at this particular time? Well, when my mother was on her deathbed, we got to talking about my future and my future plans. She knew that I always had a desire to run, so she wanted to know what I was thinking. As I've gotten older, I've decided that I had no desire to run for the legislature or to seek out an executive position. The whole process has become a bit too uncouth for my tastes. As I've done my research, it's always come back to Division 1. I don't know how many of you keep up with the Missouri Supreme Court, but I have great concerns when I keep seeing the same kind of cases coming out of Division 1, getting remanded, and for those cases to be continuously cited by the court of an example of what not to do. As I relayed my concerns that I had for Division 1, my mom really liked that idea. It was clear that this is where I could do the most good. I'm not an actual politician, you know, I'm just a giant nerd. So I was hopeful that someone a little bit more charismatic than myself would step up. Maybe someone with a little more hair. Running in 4 counties or 2,222 square miles is a Herculean task, and not something that I really wanted to do. Then my mother died. In our family, if you see something that's broken, you fix it yourself. You don't wait around for somebody else to do it. There were others who had said that they'd run, but when they heard that I was going to do it, they decided not to. There was also a candidate who positioned to an easier to win position. I'm well aware of the challenges that I face, not just in going up against an 18-year incumbent like Sandy Martinez, but also in the challenges and the mess that awaits me when I win. I feel that I'm more than up to the challenge, and that I have the experience and education to fulfill my task. I have been humbled by all your support and inspired by all your stories. To have lawyers, judges, church leaders, child welfare advocates, the mayor of St. Genevieve, and even Democrats cheering me on has been a surreal experience. I had one Democrat in particular literally boo me when he heard that I was the Republican candidate. When I told him who I was running against, he told me that I had his vote. I'm running to promote a fair, independent, and impartial judiciary to ensure that everyone is treated fairly and equally under the law as prescribed by our Constitution. Justice is blind, and everyone, regardless of if they are rich or poor, black or white, Republican or Democrat, are entitled to equal protection under the law. For my lawyer friends, I do expect that if we have a hearing scheduled at 9 a.m., that you will be ready precisely at 9 a.m. I'll be sure to bring my atomic clock. Again, my name is Gerald Lee Porter II. I'm running for 24th Circuit Court Judge, Division 1, and I thank you for your support.
All right, we've got not a poor candidate. We also have a king in the courthouse right now, and he's running for judge. Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick King.
Yeah.
Thank you, Louis. Thank you, everyone. What a tremendous turnout this is. I'm just so glad that everybody's here. Like Kevin, I was in Terre-de-Lac, and there were a lot of people out there. But this is a tremendous turnout here, and we're very grateful for that. Many years ago, when I first began my career in public service, my father, who's since gone on to be with the Lord, told me, all you can offer people is honesty and hard work. Now, we've done a lot of work since then, we've done a lot of thinking since then, but at the end of the day, that's really what it boils down to. Don't you, as a person who wants to know who the leaders are in the courthouse, who the people are that are going to be doing the people's business, don't you want them to have those very essential qualities of honesty, integrity, hard work, and common sense? I would think if you could be assured that the people that you elect had those qualities, then you would be more inclined to want to help them and support them. Well, very simply, that is why I decided to run for Associate Circuit Judge Division 4. And that is why so many people over the last many months have encouraged me in this race. As a matter of fact, I have to tell you, as I look around this room, I see so many of you that are friends and folks that I've worked with for many years. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years. You have to remember, I'm older than I look. And I have been a prosecutor for 28 years. For the last 20 years, I've been the Chief Assistant Prosecutor of St. Francis County. And in that time, I believe I've established a reputation for honesty, integrity, hard work, and common sense. And here's the thing. You can't fool people. You either have those qualities or you don't. And that's why I feel confident in telling you that that's why so many people have encouraged me and have supported me as I've gone along the line, that I've proven myself to the people of this county over and over again over the last 20 years as someone who can do what they're called upon to do. So that's why I come to you today. This campaign has literally been a labor of love. I've knocked on hundreds and thousands of doors of people all over this county, and it's been amazing to me the people who say, you helped me. You helped me in a particular criminal case. My child was a victim, and you helped me. My child views you as a hero. You helped me. My store was robbed. You got the restitution. You helped me. You proved yourself in the courtroom. You prosecuted a member of my family, but you did so in such a way as where I came away with respect for how you did your job. So those are the kind of qualities that I expect to continue to show you that you can depend upon as I begin the work of Associate Circuit Judge Division 4. To be a judge is like every other office in this respect. You have to come early, you have to stay late, you have to do what's required of you, and the people have to be able to depend upon you doing that. I've demonstrated I can, I've demonstrated that I will, and I believe that's why so many folks have rallied to help me, including so many of you. I'm just so grateful for everything that all of you have done and that all of you will do over the next few weeks, because we're very close to the end, as everyone has said so far, but we're not there yet. We've got to continue to push. I just appreciate everything everyone has done. Thank you so much, sir.
It's refreshing to see these young people here, these youngsters that are here today as well. In fact, I guess the youngest is back there, and we candidates have done such a good job, we put her to sleep. And she's a sweet baby is what she is. Melissa Gilliam, come on up here and tell us all about yourself. Our next prosecuting attorney.
Thank you, Louie. I just want to say thank you to the Republican Central Committee for all of the extremely hard work you guys have put into it. I think I met everybody back in December, and every meeting is just amazing to see all of the work that, just the brain trust that's involved in everything they've done. So thank you for inviting me. Thanks for this opportunity, and all of you for coming. So unfortunately, due to my race, not due to it, but in my race, there has been some information that has been negatively in the news, in the newspapers. But through that, what I want to talk about is what people say to me is, I know why I'm not voting for the other guy, but why should I vote for you? I don't know you, and a lot of people don't know me. And that's why I want to talk about for a second who I am and why I'm running. So that you guys can know, if people ask you, why should I vote for Melissa? So my husband is Daniel Kellogg. I'm going to introduce him right there. And my son is Aiden. He's 4. And we live here in Farmington. We moved here 4 years ago, but both of us graduated from Farmington High School. I was 91 and he was 93, so I was 2 years older. And we actually dated in high school, but we did not get married then. And I went on to Mizzou for undergrad, and I went on to law school, and my first 2 years were spent in the Colorado Springs District Attorney's Office. So I spent 2 years there, kind of getting my feet wet and learning what it meant to be a prosecutor. The low-level crimes, misdemeanors, nothing too serious, but getting started. And in 2000, I decided to move back to Missouri, and I was lucky to get a job in St. Louis City Circuit Attorney's Office. So I started there the same day Jennifer Joyce started, on January 2nd, 2001. And I worked there until July of 2016. So a total of a little under 15 years. And I enjoyed it immensely. During my time there, I started out handling drug cases, gun cases, what we call property crimes, burglaries, car stealings, worked my way up to violent crimes, murders, assaults, kidnappings, the whole 9 yards. And as everyone in this room knows, St. Louis City has no shortage of those. And one of the things that is so rewarding about being a prosecutor is just giving back to the people who are victimized and giving them the justice they deserve and they need. So I really enjoyed my time there, but after I had my son 4 years ago, we decided that we wanted to be closer to our family. My mom and dad is Mary and Vaughn Gilliam. My mom's a local real estate agent. My dad's a retired IBEW electrician. And my in-laws are Jim and Peggy Kellogg. She's a retired school teacher at St. Joseph, and my father-in-law was in probation and parole for years. So they helped us out by watching him instead of putting him in daycare, and I drove for 2 years to St. Louis City because I wanted to continue being a prosecutor because I loved my job. But in the end, after 2 years and getting really tired of driving, but enjoying living here so much more than where we were, I decided to leave my job. And I decided not to be a prosecutor anymore. I ended up working for a firm here for a little while, and then I opened my own practice. And after that, I made the decision to run to be a prosecutor, to be the St. Francis County prosecuting attorney, because that's what I wanted to do. That's what I'm good at. That's what I have experience in. And I have the integrity that we need to run this office. So now that you guys have a little information on me, I hope other people out there will be able to answer the question of why should I vote for you? So if you could help me and spread that information, I would appreciate it. And thank you very much to everyone again for coming.
We have a few more candidates we want to introduce you to. You folks that are back there, you can come on in. And Kevin, go ahead and get out of their way, will you? Come on. Hey, I want to thank a couple of Bouyers over here from Washington County, formerly from Washington County, Yogi and Charlotte Bouyer. Charlotte's a former Washington County office holder, and they decided to cross the Big River and come over to God's country, and we appreciate you doing that. Their daughter, by the way, Teresa Bauman, also owns the 2 River Marts and big supporters of this party, and we so really appreciate them participating with us here. For you new candidates, and I'm sure the older candidates will agree with this, I've been in politics a long time. I was raised Democrat, baptized Republican, saw the light, and just one sentence for the new candidates for you. 2 words during this campaign: comfortable shoes. Comfortable shoes, okay? Harold Gallagher has done a tremendous job as our presiding commissioner. As the auditor working across the hall with the 3 commissioners, it is critical that we spend the taxpayers' money the way it is meant to be spent, the savings that we can pass along for future years. And Harold Gallagher is one of those gentlemen, if not the gentleman, who has led the way. Presiding Commissioner Harold Gallagher.
My speech consists of a list of the things we've gotten done. I've been presiding commissioner for 30+ years. When I walked into office, it was pretty desolate as far as things that hadn't been done in decades. In that 3 years, here's what we've done. We have completely revamped the Road and Bridge Department. New location, new buildings, new equipment, and new leadership. We now are doing more with 31 people than we had with 46 before. We have installed security in the building to protect our employees and the visiting public. We have completely updated our employee handbook and policy manual for the first time since 1992. We have completely updated our payroll system. It was over 100 years out of date. We have formulated the job scale and pay grade system for the first time. We have modernized our entire accounting system with up-to-date software and processes. We have improved the budgeting system such that we are now preparing the 2019 budget at least 3 months earlier than was formerly done. We have invested in new computers, more modern utility systems, newer vehicles, and are even experimenting with different flooring types. We have created an IT department with wonderful results. We have increased assets by over 24% to over $31 million. We have increased available office space by about 50%. We have created and built a new regional morgue. We have installed a computerized dispensing and recording system for gasoline and diesel fuel for the first time. We now know where every gallon of fuel goes and into what vehicle it goes. The mileage is recorded, so the computer keeps track of the mileage. Something goes off, somebody's sucking gas, or the vehicle needs repairs. We have continued development of better, safer, cheaper, and faster methods of building bridges. We have installed standby power generations in most of our buildings, with others coming soon. We now have diversified locations of our buildings in the event of a natural disaster. We're not all clustered in the downtown Farmington area now. We now have a multi-million-dollar fund set aside to continue operations in the event of a natural disaster. This is the first time we've ever had funds like that. The overall condition of our buildings is now the best it's ever been. We now have enough meeting rooms for the first time ever. These projects have been completed along with hundreds of more mundane projects. More updates than other areas are planned. My leadership has been recognized by both the Missouri Association of Counties and the National Association of Counties for excellence in leadership because of my truly effective methods. This is the first time our county has ever received recognition. All of these projects have been completed without taking on new debt. In fact, we have paid down over half of our long-term debt incurred during the building of the Annex building in 2006. We plan to be completely debt-free in the next term. We are well on the way to upgrading our county as a leading place to live and work. We have been working quietly, yet with a vengeance. We are a first-class county, and our buildings and systems are being upgraded to match this standing. I am Harold Gallagher, and I would really appreciate your vote for re-election. Thank you.
It's a pretty impressive list. Very, very impressive, particularly in just 3.5 years. Jay Graff, I know you don't want to talk, but you have to. Our next recorder of deeds, Jay Graff.
Thank you, Larry. This is a really good opportunity. I appreciate everybody being here. I've worked closely with a lot of people here for last number of weeks, especially. I'm so proud of this building. I actually got on a mower and did some mowing yesterday and doubled our street view out there. You know, play with our signs a little bit, but that aside. I'm Jay Graff. I'm running for the Recorder of Deeds, and that's an exciting office where if you buy something or sell it, I get to record it. Hey. Or if you get married, or the other thing, then I get to record that too. Whatever. My dad passed away at the beginning of this year, and he taught me integrity, he taught me honesty, he taught me hard work, and I appreciate that, and that is something I'd like to pass on to this office. I appreciate your vote for that. The Recorder of Deeds, I've actually visited several different counties. I have looked into what it takes for a third class or a first class county, what it looks like. I actually have one that's a model that I'd like to go after and do that. Model our county after that. We do have software that's in there right now. I don't know if it's being utilized or not up to its fullest capacity. So I'm also off the subject, is that goofy guy that rides a unicycle in parades. If you've been at a parade lately, that's what I do. And I actually rode one, somebody at the Fall Fest with Charlotte there. We were there, and the lady comes up, she says, if you ride that, I'll vote for you. So I got a vote. So appreciate that one, and my wife, so that's good. So appreciate your vote, appreciate you all coming out. I'm looking forward to this. I ran one race before, not too long ago, lost by 2.5%. There's about 24,000 votes cast. He got a little over 12, and I got a little under 12. So let's do it this time. I'm excited about it. I feel better this time. I've got more signs out than I have before. I'm talking to more people that are opening up and giving us opportunities to use their properties. And I just have an overall wonderful feeling, and I'm just excited. So appreciate your vote coming up soon. So thank you very much.
One other thing, several people asked about this. There's 3 amendments about marijuana. Okay? Now, we have fought that for a few years. We wanted proper restrictions. We couldn't get that done. One of the amendments, I'm not going to tell you what to vote for. But here's the way it goes. The one that gets the most votes wins. There's one that's being funded by an attorney and a surgeon. And it will totally benefit him. And he's going to put money behind it. What I would do is get educated. I might even talk to you afterwards about it. There's one that has restrictions and it's for medical purposes. It is currently polling at almost 80%, all 3. Now, if one gets 82 and it's for the one guy that put more advertising in, so what I would suggest you do, get educated, vote for the one that's going to pass. There's no reason to vote no on all of them because this is going to pass. What I would suggest is vote for the one that's the most restrictive, and then don't vote for the other 2 because that's how it's decided, whichever gets the most votes. So if a bunch of people don't vote for the other 2 or vote no, then the one with the restrictions is going to be the one, but it's going to pass. I see numbers, it's going to pass. The question is it going to be one that benefits Bradford, the trial attorney from, or is it going to be one that actually doesn't just open the doors to unlimited use? I just thought I'd pass along.
You're talking about Amendment 1, Amendment 2, and Prop what?
2 and 3.
Yeah, I don't know what the
3 is the one that benefits the attorney.
Okay, so it's Amendment 1, 2, and 3, is that what?
2 and 3.
2 and 3.
And the state commander for the BFW was speaking last week, and he's active in this for this exact reason. He's asked me to be a spokesman in this area because people don't understand it. There's 3 issues. And if one of them passes, it's going to make California's laws look, conservative. And so we have to do, sometimes when you're voting, and I've voted thousands of times, you have to vote strategically for the one that you might not like, but the one that will be best. And I'm telling you, just get educated on that issue.
These were initiative petition brought on the ballot too. This was not presented by the General Assembly. Gary Matheny still here? He's in a room by himself, as he should be. Our public administrator, ladies and gentlemen. We have plenty of signs here, and you're more than welcome to take them with you. We have plenty of candidates here for you folks to meet. We have plenty of material back here. We have cookies and stuff back here. And I want to mention that Governor Mike Parson is scheduled to be here October the 8th at 4 o'clock.
He will be here from 4:30 to 5:30.
4:30 to 5:30, October the 8th, all right? That's the state holiday, Columbus Day, I think, by the way, too, so.
Louis, if anyone wants to volunteer, we always need help here at the headquarters. Sign up, talk to someone, but we could use your help.
So, talk to anybody you want to talk to except me, because I don't know nothing.
Where are we doing the picture?
Where is the picture?
Now, I got to ask, I tell you, a lot of you always say, I don't want to be the picture. To me, it's important to show our friends on the other side of the aisle what a grand opening looks like. And so we want everybody to be behind the congressman when he cuts the ribbon. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. And so
how do you want to do it?
Come on out and stand here unless you just have an objection.
Take the picture outside? All right. So everybody want to go outside and get a picture taken?
But we'd like a crowd sitting behind it.
You bet. Hey, thanks for coming.
Picture right now. He's always got a suit down here. Same size. Have you looked at the marijuana?
And the one guy's put up $2 million and his path is with the most votes. I think we're buying. So, and it's the one that just goes in the wall. Goes in some of the other two guys. And so if he gets his health, he gets the right to basically go anything. The hell of a What do you think? We just need a crowd seat behind, but what do we want? You want to do it this way so we don't have cars? Yeah.
We could do it up against the...
Come on out here. Let's try to get everybody out right this way.
Hey, Kevin.
Crowd in the building probably be best.
Let's
do it.
I don't know, on the other side of the building.
You have a sign, you have a sign up here, you might want to do it in front of that.
I don't know if you're not going to be able to get the cars in against the problem. Because this is going to be wide. They're going to have to go back.
Well, if all the
I don't care.
fill in back there.
Do it on that side.
What do you think?
Do it on that side of the building. Well, no, there's cars there.
Right.
Where's the
I really just have the sign.
We don't have to do an actual ribbon. Do an actual ribbon. This could be
Come on over here.
If you're short, come up front. More people up front.
All right.
Yeah. So actually put it on the map, on the Google Maps.
Everybody that's height challenged up front. Height challenge people up front. That is you. Anybody that's tall up front. Where's my shirt? Hello! Carol, get over. Up front. Come on. Right. Here we go. Big old giants in the back. I'm not talking about politicians.
Yeah. Ethan, give him a 3, 2, 1 keys or something. You can do. I just want to get to a place where I can get everybody.
Can you squeeze in there?
Oh, we got too big a crowd. Big of a crowd.
There's nobody behind.
Stand on that white car. Try the horn. There we go. All right. All right, now look at the truck. Now look at the truck.
Good. Truck.
All right.
Are we good?
No problem.
See,
All right.
Monday.
Tuesday. Monday?
Yeah, it's the start of a new quarter, so.
Okay.
Start of a new quarter means it's a Monday.
Okay.
But luckily, I think
Jesse, I want to thank you for covering the event, young man.
Yeah, I got to get a stabilizer for this now. This is what we got. And Ben said he can hook up the audio to it.